What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Live List Internet Radio Show. I have a special treat for you. I'm here with the lovely, the talented, the everything that you want in a YouTuber, Miss JassyG Luvely. JassyG, say what's up to the people.
What's good?
Now this is a little weird because she can't see me, but you guys can see.
No.
You guys can see us both. You guys can see us both. This is going to be a really great interview, I think. JassyG is,
hmm
is tell us a little bit about what it means to, because I know they see the description down there. And everybody's wondering what's a mompreneur, and I've heard the term myself, but I'm wondering if you could break it down just a little bit for us while we have people filling in.
A mompreneur is just a mom that is an entrepreneur, like an entrepreneurial mom. She can be a single mom, a married mom, stay-at-home mom. But basically, if you're balancing, business and kids and projects, then that will qualify you as a mompreneur.
Okay.
So, yeah. In my opinion, I don't know. They could have a technical term, but that's my definition for
No, that's
it.
that's a great opinion. That's a great opinion.
Yeah.
Now let's see. We got all things natural in the building. Says what's up? TG said
Hey,
let's go. We ready.
we ready.
AC Blue gives you a big hearts a big hearts up. I am so excited.
Me too.
I normally don't have a lot like this going on my channel, but I really appreciate you being here. Now I got some questions here,
hmm
and I want to start with these, and then we can just go free form after that. Now,
Okay.
Now we know that you have been involved with this Natureboy thing, but I really don't even want to go there right off the bat because I know that there's so much more to Miss JassyG. I'm sure of it. So with that being said, my first question is, can you tell us who is JassyG and how did you get started on YouTube?
Who is Jassy G? Jassy G kind of is like my real self.
Mm-hmm.
Like I always say that, like, when I started my YouTube channel, it was more so as kind of like a hobby, but my hobby is like advocacy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like something that I just love to do. And Jassy G is like the extrovert part of myself, because I often say I'm naturally an introvert, like in my personal life. And so she's just kind of the person that, like, she's very true to me, but she has like a little bit more outgoing qualities than how I would like normally be, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when I started, I was like, okay, I want to be able to talk about the things that I want to talk about, but I also just want to be myself.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Jassy G is my woke ratchet alter ego.
Kind of like the
She's
your Sasha Fierce,
like
maybe.
my Sasha Fierce. Like, she's my woke ratchet, Jassy, sassy Jassy.
Okay. Okay. So let me ask you this: what made you want to put Jazzy on YouTube in the first place? What was it that made you say, "Hey, you know what? I can do this, and you know what? I think I could do it well. Let me get some videos on here."
I was already doing lives on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
and like a bunch of people told me to go to YouTube over
Mm-hmm.
the span of like 6, 7 months.
Mm-hmm.
And one woman even like hopped in my inbox and she was just like, I think you would do really great commentaries.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you think so? And I was like, I really didn't want, what I was discussing was like mainly community issues, right? Community advocacy. And so I was like a little intimidated by going into that lane. One, because I'm not super serious all the time. And two, because it can get really vicious up and down. So I was like, I just kind of want to be somewhere where I kind of have a little bit more wiggle room to be a little bit more creative.
Mm-hmm.
And so from there, she had that conversation with me. And then one other person said it. And then after that last person said it, I was like, this must be the direction for me to move in.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started. Mm-hmm.
So I really admire that. As a YouTuber, as somebody who just started taking it seriously, I really admire looking up to people like you who have these platforms, who have worked really hard to get them there. It's really an inspiration, and I guess I can speak for a lot of people when I say we really appreciate what you do. Your commentary, your vision, your just even your little morning inspirationals, your evening, it's a motherfucking commentary. We love it.
It's a motherfucking commentary.
Okay, my next question here. Now, shouts out to TG, one of my subscribers, who gave me a list of great questions. Man, I had my own list, but I'm actually going off of hers because she's a JassyG fan too. So we kind of brainstormed on this one.
Yeah, I know TG.
TG, you know TG then.
TG is the JassyG OG.
The JassyG OG. TG.
She OG.
All right. All right. So the next question we have here is now, and you already answered this just a little bit. You were telling me about how your platform was built for you to express yourself, to be more creative. But if you could really, put a pin on it, if you could put a head on the pin, what would you say the platform's purpose is, and how would you differentiate that? How does it differentiate from other platforms on YouTube with similar purposes?
Well, my platform is more about awareness, but I kind of add more so of a spiritual and psychological perspective. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people were covering Natureboy and stuff like that. But, I found myself just naturally to be more of an objective person. Mm. So it's I could look at it and I didn't really have any strong feelings of hate or anger, or it's just I just want to bash. But I was I thought he was the perfect example of narcissism. And anytime I have a opportunity to expose narcissism and really break it down for people to where they understand it, especially in my community and our community, because it's so necessary and it's not often talked about. It's really overlooked. It's it's something that is huge, I think, but just people can't quite put their finger on it.
Absolutely. Mental health in general. I didn't mean to break in on you. Go ahead there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, people just can't put their finger on it. And so when I started watching him and stuff like that, I was this is a great way for me to really educate people on narcissism, but do it in a really unique way. And so that's kind of how my platform was tailored. It's anything that's probably more so that's, hindering people in their life, that's harming people in their life, any of the nouns, people, places, things, self issues and things like that. I definitely kind of tailored myself to being able to, just inspire and motivate and support and encourage people, but also talk about this really serious issue. So.
And since we've got kind of a natural segue into that now, I didn't want to go into that, immediately right up front, but since we kind of have a natural segue into that, I know that on your channel you do cover Natureboy. You talk about the narcissism. But what I really admire is your coverage of Eliana and the girls there over in the camp, the Commune and whatnot. I admire the way that you really add a perspective that a lot of people miss. Because I watch a lot of the other shows. I'm not going to call any names, but I watch a lot of the other coverage of him. But yours just seems to really hit home when you talk about Eliana, when you talk about when you talk about these women. It seems as if you actually know them personally, and I don't know that to be the case. But it seems like you really care, and I really enjoy that coverage. Now, with that being said, with you being the queen that you are, and your thoughts on black women, because like I said, I've seen your channel. What are your thoughts on Natureboy and I don't want to go in particularly Eliana, but what are your thoughts on Natureboy and the women there? I'm not even going to get into the men just yet, but Natureboy, then the women, and then we'll get into something else.
To me, it's a series of unfortunate events. It's it's they are the perfect prey in a lot of aspects. And to me, I find it really disheartening just in knowing the position and the emotional state that Black women already come from here and what they consider to be Babylon, right? And to know that somebody is already preying on women that are vulnerable and just kind of, you know, haven't even had a chance or opportunity to find themselves because they're so young. It's like they could have met anybody in the world and they just happened to meet this guy, right? So it's like one choice away could have changed their entire, you know, course right now. And so it's kind of like, I feel really just connected and bonded to them in a certain way, because it is, to me, a domestically violent relationship, you know, from the way that I've observed it. And I too have experienced that. And I know a lot of women that have experienced that. So I kind of look at them as representing a different, like a demographic, if you will, of a certain type of woman in the community. Right? They have their own little space and place and group that they would speak to. And I think their stories are unique and their stories are interesting. But it's just really, to me, it is also just fascinating, you know, how Natureboy is able to accomplish just running this game on all of these women over there, you know? And so to me, it's like, I think they could be anybody. And so I try my best, even though they get on our nerves sometimes with they fully wang.
The fully wang.
With the fully wang.
And that laugh.
Yeah. To try to humanize them, because sometimes people forget they're humans. And so and that as women, they're emotional beings, and that they are being manipulated. So I take it from that aspect of just always kind of still remembering that, like, underneath it all, like, that was me, you know, that was me at some point in time, the different aspects and different things that I see in them. I end up seeing a lot of myself and a lot of the women that I know. So it could be anybody, honestly. It could be. And it's a lot of people, you know, they're just on camera.
Now, that leads us into another question. I'm getting off of the topic of my questions, but I really, this was a question. This was the next question up, but it leads me into something else. Now, you just spoke about a certain subsect of the conscious community, or the community that is attracted to this certain sort of thing, correct? Now, what I would like to know is, you know, being a Black woman in the conscious community nowadays, what are your thoughts on the views on Black women in the conscious community? What are your thoughts on the way women are treated, respected, or lack thereof in the conscious community? Sipping some tea. These are great questions, by the way. TG, thank you so much for helping me with these questions. Wow, I have no idea.
That was TG's question.
That was TG's question.
TG done set me up. She wanted me to go off.
We need some fully wang. We need some.
Wait, TJ, me and TG, I'm gonna see you in chat later. Me and you gonna talk in chat later for that question you asked. Oh dear. Oh, I have said many a time that I consistently excommunicate myself from the conscious community. I care about the issues, but I cannot ignore the narrative. And there's even times where I have personally felt that it was just anti-Black women. And I was like, yo, now, it's like, it's like we already got so much going on, but I end up stumbling across certain places and certain channels. I ain't gonna say no names. And they just be spewing hatred and just evilness. And then when I go through the comments, I get really disheartened because there's so many people in agreement about Black women, about this really negative, icky narrative in regards to Black women. And
I'm sorry, go ahead.
And it makes it really difficult to even, it's like, instead of you being able to come into a situation and show who you are, you're coming into situations in the conscious community trying to prove what you are not.
Wow.
And so I'm like, I can't be a part of that because I'd rather be as I am instead of trying to prove my worthiness in any conscious environment or conscious group or conscious circle. So I was like, I can't. It ain't. It's becoming more and more not for me, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I found myself, questioning a lot of things nowadays. With the young Pharaoh and Bobby Hemmett thing, I covered that extensively. I've covered every chapter of that saga so far, and it's made me really take a look at the people I used to look up to in the conscious community, and really going back over their information and saying, you know what I mean, this is kind of outdated and wrong, just to be honest. And then even
there's a lot of outdated things.
Yeah. And then some of the newest stuff is just like out there, you're like, okay, what is, and that's what makes it so difficult to really hate. And don't get me wrong, it don't hate me for saying this, everybody. I am an objective person.
Right.
That is why I'm saying this. That's why it makes it so hard to hate what Natureboy is saying. The information is not necessarily incorrect. You know what I mean? It's just his approach to everything is just horrible. He's a horrible guy, horrible person. But the philosophy itself is a beautiful one. I think it's been co-opted. It's been what's the word? I think that is the word. It's been co-opted. It's been corrupted.
Well, his approach to something that he says, one of his talking points that he approaches often that I find super cringy, but I know why. And it ties into what, you asked about the view of women in the conscious community is him saying, the Black woman has been weaponized by white supremacy to go against the Black man. Like, dang, I don't even care like that. Like, why would you say? So it's like he's only saying it, right? And pushing that narrative because it is such a popular talking point. And so many people do have these issues where instead of them, and also this is one reason why I really do push, healing and people really learning about themselves and getting past their traumas, is they can have one negative experience for the Black woman, and that's just supposed to permeate for all Black womankind. And when you have people who say stuff like this, they're not really getting over their issues. They're able to wallow and fester in it and continuously feed this really negative agenda. And I don't care what anybody, it's an agenda. It's like an attack. I feel that way sometimes. It's an attack on Black women.
Well, there's there's a lot of different camps, but one of the main two of the main camps in the Black conscious community nowadays that I've seen is that Black woman is God, Black people are God, and or either those two, or that you go completely left and you say and you're the what's the guy Thomas Sotomayor saying that Black women are hare-hatted. I'm not even going to go all that.
We can't even get into that. Hold on, because if we was gonna mention him, I would have brought my sage up.
Oh my God! But yeah, a lot of people like Tommy are making a career off of downgrading and degrading women.
So he has like 5 channels that are up and kicking.
Wow, I'm talking about all day, every day.
Oh, I mean, geez, and he just goes and goes and goes. And then what I find that absolutely floors and baffles me is the fact that Queen sisters keep going on his platform
and being made to look foolish because they get upset, and the more you get upset, and he can put a thumbnail of you looking mad and angry. That's just feeding into his base.
Yeah, he's trolling you, and then he also, and I don't enjoy the comments because I see other people who are outside of our community getting their shits and giggles off of what Tommy's saying. And it's like, that is not cool either. Like, and I'm just like, I don't know. That's why I had to rebuke him in the name of sweet little white baby Jesus in his iced out manger. Okay. And like, send him on. Because I was like, I can't really deal with what you got going on. Because it gets over the titles alone. He
really goes in. He really goes for it. He really goes for it. I mean, he goes there. And it's all for clicks. Don't get me wrong. I don't disagree that he feels that way. I disagree with him on a lot of what he says. I don't disagree that he feels that way. I just think of a lot of it is just I've seen so many titles. I
don't even think that I would not even be if it wasn't for the fact of knowing that whatever with his child support issues and all of that stuff. A lot of times, you know, in the conscious community, I have literally met brothers that spit that rhetoric, right? Because it brings in the coinage, and they're nothing like that in person. They're nothing like that.
Exactly.
They follow you around like a little puppy dog, and just get all googly eyed. And it's like, now I thought I was gonna come up in here and have to fight you, but you keep trying to kiss me, so I don't know.
I know, right?
No.
And see, that's what happens. Women go on his shit. He dates black women. You know that.
There's sometimes and it's sad that is such a. It's sad that is even such a meal ticket, right? Like that's what's really sad, is that they're able to secure the bag off of that narrative, that they would even pretend to be that narrative. So had a very eye-opening experience with that last year. And I was like, really, dude? Like, okay.
Now I saw him and Michi X, and after this, I'm gonna get on to another point. After this, I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna go back into some more questions, but I'm gonna make one more point about Tommy, and then we're gonna move on away from this one. Now I saw Tommy Sotomayor and Michi X. If you don't know who Michi X is, she's got a channel called Fly Nubian Queen. She's in the.
I know who Michi X is.
Yeah, she's with the Boyce Watkins camp. I'm sure you know who Michi X is. That was for the people in the back.
That's Boyce old girl. I think I came across Michi X. I was like subbed to their channel, but then most recently, like she was going at it with another channel.
Yes,
and then
Paris
I was
Milan.
just kind of like, Paris Milan, and I was like, okay, no.
Yeah, they went at it. I was subbed to both of them, and I was like, somebody's got to go. So I like Michi.
I had to give the axe. So,
but they said something on their channel the other day, and then, like I said, I'm going to move off of this once I get this point out. They said something. They were talking about scammers in the community, and they brought up a good point. You know, we got all this going on in the conscious community nowadays. All these different camps, all these different philosophies. You got the Hebrew Israelites, you've got the Nature Boys, you've got the Pharaoh that running people, the Moors. You've got the syncretism, astrotheology. All of black people are running all over the place trying to find something to look up to and something to look for. What do you think about just that confusion itself? Not necessarily trying to give somebody a light, because who has the light? Nobody knows what the light is. We're just trying to find it, right? With that being said, what do you think about all the confusion in the conscious community, and what do you think about monetizing your conscious channel, your channel? Because they had this conversation. They were saying how Tommy was saying there's people who want to give me money to say what I say. People value my voice. You can't get mad at me because my voice is valued. You can't call people a scammer. Everybody they call everybody a scammer. You got over 1,000 subscribers and such, you start getting money from YouTube. Not automatically, but if you work hard enough, they will pay you, or you get paid. I don't know how it all works because I'm not monetized. But what do you think about these conscious quote unquote scammers, getting paid off of their conscious YouTube channel? And do you even think that that's scamming? I think that that's so stupid to call that scamming.
I do not consider it scamming, and I have a monetized channel. I do not consider it scamming at all. Honestly, I have found that some of the channels that are not monetized off of that whole ideology tend to get caught up in all of these scams. I have connected the dots on this. And so, because to me, it's like what is the term? A red herring. To me, it's like all for show and fluff. At the end of the day, you have things, right, that you're going to need. Let's say I spent a great deal of my life working for nonprofit organizations, right? Is it scamming for them to take, grants that are given to them by the government to grow out their nonprofit organization, to get a brick and mortar, to fill it up with furniture, to get supplies? Is that, even though there are, so helping the community, or they may even be, and because you can get grants actually for various conscious nonprofits. But with a really good grant writer. But I just think it's just sense. It is. I rather do the work and collect the coins from that to do what I need to do, than to come to you and ask you for your hard-earned money when I'm trying to utilize my message to help people. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Are you following what I'm saying? Like, it's like, yes, it's nice when people donate and they give, but then they get all pissy and start getting pissed off at people when they're not giving, when they could completely solve that problem just by monetizing their channel. And then even more so, it's like, to me, I think that it's like, give me a second, because the thought is like right there at the top of my head, and I'm just trying to think of how I want to word it.
We got all day, Jazzy.
It's like it's, to me, it makes sense. It just did for me. It made sense. It made sense to do the work that I needed to do in order to get the things that I needed to get in order to grow my platform and do what I need to do with it, instead of depending on other people let's say it's like waiting on a handout, to do what I need to do in order to grow my platform, to get better equipment and reach more people and do all of this, that, and the third. It just made sense. And I don't trust anybody that will, this is just me, and people can feel how they want to feel about it. I don't care. I don't trust you if you would pass up a check. I don't trust you. I don't trust your ass. Like, why would you pass up a free check? It just doesn't make any sense to me. That's not sound. It's just not sound financially. You're not being a financial leader, because these same people will say, don't monetize your channel, but then we'll go work a 9 to 5. So it was like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, it just doesn't. Or don't monetize your channel, but you got to have some sort of income that you're gaining, right, to live in your house and to pay whatever you got to pay for. So it just, which that's not even what I'm personally, collecting the coins for. But if it just doesn't, to me, it just doesn't make any sense. I'm like, I just can't logically wrap my mind around rationalizing why they feel that way. To me, it's like all show and all fluff, kind of. It's kind of fluff.
Well, I think that people really don't understand the work that it takes to get behind the camera and do this sort of thing. Like, even, I've got a little bit, I've collected a couple of things over the years that, since the months that I've been doing this. I've had a lot of the equipment for years, but the couple months I've been doing this, the several months I've been doing this, I've just collected more. And people don't realize how much actual work really goes into this. Like, you do a nightly show. I don't even do a nightly show. You do
it's like there's a lot of work and time. And not only that, but you have to consider the fact that, people who work for nonprofits get a check. When people who work for nonprofit, the director gets a check. The people who work there at the front office get a check. Like, the nonprofit pays them. So I just don't understand. It's not like they in there working for free. And I don't like the fact, and I'm just going to say it, and people can be upset. I don't like the fact that our people always want us to work for free. They always want us to do stuff for free. Yeah, I said it. Shots fired. Why does everybody always want us to do stuff? Because I'm an entrepreneur outside of YouTube. So I'm like, why does everybody always want our work and our labor to be discounted and our work and our labor to be free, when a lot of times it's not even just, sitting behind a camera. I know from me, myself personally, I go to domestic, DV awareness events in the community. Like, I do that. I go to shelters and volunteer and give out stuff and buy stuff and do a little hair or whatever and try to make them feel good. Like, I do, because that's very important to me. Domestic violence, homeless families, stuff like that is really, really important to me. So I always will go out here and do the work. But you got these people, you do have people that will be so critical of you and worrying about your money and what you got going on or whatever. And they don't even go out here and do anything for the community. They don't ride behind the platforms that they say they stand for. They don't get out here in the streets and get in the trenches and actually try to help or clean up the community or really go out here and ride. Like, it's like a couple of marches every now and again, and then that's it, with the hype. You go to the march with the hype, but the other 35 days of the year, you're not doing anything as far as really progressing and actually being hands-on with the community. That's just me.
Speaking of being hands-on with the community, perfect segue, by the way. Great take on that. I think that everybody agrees with you in the chat. I think one person said the flip side of is when the platform gets monetized. Kids' Corner says the flip side is when the platform gets monetized. A lot of people start playing to the audience. That is true, but I can tell
that's true. But see, that's what happens when you don't one. If you are if you're a materialism motivated person, and you are involved in activism or advocacy, that's a problem right there, because to me, I don't care what nobody say. It just doesn't go hand in hand. And I just still remember my background working where I think I told a story on my channel one time. I worked for a beta and the director pulls up in a brand new Mercedes-Benz, which was a nonprofit organization. I was like, yo, where are you getting Mercedes-Benz money from?
You already know.
And extorting from she got shut down because she was extorting money from the organization.
Wow.
Which I've seen that happen twice. I saw another director go down for a shelter that I was volunteering at for extorting money from the organization as well. So I've seen it twice. But to me, it's just like, I understand the playing to the audience or whatever, but it just shouldn't. If you are doing hard work, then it's from your heart. It should never really get to that place because you shouldn't want to dilute your message for a check. You shouldn't, sometimes standing in your truth means that you might not make, the big bank or whatever. Sometimes you got to say things like some of the things that I said I'm the queen of unpopular opinion. Some of the things that I say, I know would kick up a shitstorm. But it's the truth. It is what it is, and it's my opinion. And I usually have some things that I can say behind it to back it up. Sometimes telling the truth ain't gonna make. I've said plenty of times, the truth don't make no money.
No, it doesn't. No, it really doesn't. They want the salaciousness. They want the lies. The lies are way more palatable than the truth. I'm gonna read one more comment here. They said, not to mention that what we do on the spiritual side is hard work, and they don't do it, and you don't do it on the YouTube camera. You do it in the streets.
Right. Yes.
And that brings up another good. I was just going to ask you about that. I know I was watching your channel. I have just recently started watching. I got to be honest, but I know that you're numerology. You're big into the charts and that kind of thing. And I am really looking to get into that kind of thing myself. Not as to read or anything, but to know about myself. So could you tell us a little bit about numerology? Being a spiritual reader. What other interest that you have. Outside of YouTube, because I think that's a perfect segue.
Well, I have been a tarot reader and just kind of like spiritual life coach, if you will, I'm coming up on a year, my first year. And so I really I discovered tarot first, and through the Rider-Waite deck, which is like the standard deck, a lot of people learn on that deck. It walks you through this journey really through what is called the major arcana. And from there is where I started getting into astrology and numerology in order to learn layers on top of the reading to gain more insight. And so as I was going through that journey and learning more and more about that, I found that it really helped me, and it helped me overcome the issues that I was facing and the things that I was going through emotionally. And when I discovered tarot, I was in a really dark place. So it was so interesting. It was crazy. I started literally watching YouTube videos, and then it was I just started reading the cards. It was just something that I just had a natural ability to do. And so I started I joined a bunch of Facebook groups. And I started reading, jumping out there, and was reading the spreads in the group. And I always got really wonderful feedback. And so, because at first I was really shy about it. I was I don't know. I think I know what I see, but what if I'm wrong? And so I had to overcome that to just say what I saw. And so each time it was like really, really, really positive feedback. And so I built my confidence, you know, in the groups. And then also ended up, before I even went into business, had built up kind of a reputation and whatnot from just doing that. And so it was just kind of like it just naturally found me. It was like when I discovered it, I just discovered me. Like I felt like this was my thing. So that's how I ended up in that. And I think it's really good. I think it's something, and a lot of people say it's pseudoscience, you know, because it can't be proven. But I don't know. I think I prove it all the time. It's just what I know in regards to astrology and numerology and life path numbers and you know, various cards and various information about all of the spiritual practices and the things that I've discovered about just life. And so it's just ended up being my thing.
Could you, if you could say the most important thing about numerology, whether it be it's something that you need to, whether it would be, hey, you need to know, you know, this so you can know who you are, or you need to know this so you can find your mate, or you need to know this so you can find your spirituality. You know, what would be your most important thing to you that you could tell somebody else about why they need to know their numbers? They need to know their astrology charts. Astrology charts.
Okay. For numerology, life path number. Knowing my life path number, I'm a life path number 7. And it's the seeker, right? It's the seeker. We're very investigative, very intuitive, spend a lot of time in solitude. We're always looking for the deeper purpose and deeper meaning of life, spiritual, like the eternal spiritual student, just life student, if you will. We're very open-minded. It was just like when I seen out of all of my numbers, when I see my life path number, that's what made me want to get into numerology more, is because it definitely fit. It definitely made sense. And it definitely helped me to understand, like when I seen it was like spiritual or whatever, I was like, dude, like all of this is me. Like, and so I was like, it's so interesting that it just resonated with me like that. And even what it said about, you know, the careers that are most suitable for Life Path 7, it was like every single one of them I had thought about doing at some point in time in my life. And so that is the most important number for numerology, is to know your life path number. And how you would find your life path number is to add up all the days of your birthday separately. So if my birthday is 9/25/89, I'd add 9 plus 2 plus 5 plus 1 plus 9 plus 8 plus 9, right? Take that number and then I would reduce that number. So that number would come down to, I think it's like 43. And then add those two together and I end up with 7. So that's how that works, unless you have a double digit number, but you can just hit me up about it and I'll tell you exactly how to do it.
That was my next question. How can we find you for booking? If we want to get in contact with you, we want some reading done. How do we book Miss JassyG?
You can contact me through my email address. So this, I'm gonna have to spell it for you. It's KHETHIWE truth@gmail.com. And so it's pronounced Kate, and Kate means chosen. So it's like she is chosen. Okay. So that's why I chose it. Chose that. I thought it was a really interesting name. And then on astrology, why do you need to know your astrology? A lot of people always think when they see their sun sign, right? And they read the horoscopes and they be like, this doesn't resonate with me. Like, none of this is even me, right? Well, the reasoning of why that is because we're made up of more than just that one sign. And then when you go underneath that sign, like I'm a sun sign Libra, but then I've always been like this feisty, fiery person that's very un-Libra-like. Then I come to find out I'm a Leo moon and a Sagittarius rising. So I act more like a fire sign than an air sign. And so my air is usually just in my intellect, but then everything else, like the way I push myself to do this, right? Or even the way that I needed the freedom to know that I could not be contained by working in a job is more Sagittarian-like. Mm-hmm. The way that I am able to kind of be a leader and be outgoing, and sometimes, and it poorly aspected, right? I had to balance my pride and not let my ego get in the way, comes from my Leo moon. And then even further, I found out through my Venus sign, which is in Scorpio, that this is probably why I act crazy as hell in relationships. And so between that and my moon. And so when you start finding all of this stuff out, and then it explains a lot of the things that you've been through. It explains a lot of the ways that you may react and behave at different times, and how you respond to different situations at different times. Like I'm not going to just be a Libra. I'm going to be all of these things, you know, at various times throughout my life. So then it kind of made sense. I was able to kind of, you know, really become even more self-aware. And it was just really accurate for me. Like, it nailed it for me, for my chart. It nailed it. So
I'm definitely going to try to get with you sometime soon to try to figure out what's going on with me. I need to know that.
Yeah. It'll tell you your talents and stuff too.
Say again?
I said it'll tell you your talents and choice professions for you too.
Man, I need to know that. I need to know if I need to just give up or just call it a day. Now let's get to some more. Let's get to some more of the heavier stuff now. I just got done, and I wanted to get, you know, my foo questions out of the way first. You know. Mm-hmm. Now let me ask you. I saw this live with Mr. Marquez last night.
Right.
I was privy to be able to sit down and watch it. You know, I love the lives, but I like watching it on the rebroadcast as well, because that means I can pause it and go back. There were some gems in that interview. Can you give me your opinion of that whole thing, the whole thing yesterday, and then I'm gonna ask some specific questions about it. Go ahead.
Okay. Let me think. I think that I really enjoyed that he actually addressed, you know, that karma thing of it not really belonging to her and being her burden. Mm-hmm. And her really not needing to wear the sins of her parents, as she had been programmed by Natureboy to do.
Yes.
So I was just like, yes, that was really awesome of how he broke that down. I also really enjoyed where he was talking about the difference in learners and how we learn our life lessons. Some people, you can tell them and they're going to listen to it and they're going to be like, I ain't going to do that because they told me not to do it. And then some people, you can tell them and they're still going to go out here and do it. And I thought that was really telling, you know, in regards to Velvet, Eliana, because that's essentially what type of learner she is. She's a doer. So it was kind of like him saying, like, I understand, and expressing to us, like, I understand why she there. Like, I get it, you know, and that if this is her path, if the path that she chooses and she wants to stay on that path, you know, well, eventually she's gonna learn the lesson, and because we already know what it is. So it was like, that was really nice too, because I kind of seen I saw like some, even though I know that there's like anguish in him, that there was still that understanding of why she was there. Because sometimes people don't understand. And if you don't understand, then you can't carry a level of peace to be able to function on the daily anyway, when you're dealing with something that heavy, a situation as heavy as what he's dealing with.
Absolutely.
And, you know, it's not every day that your daughter's in a cult.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the fact that he issued that apology. Mm-hmm. There's been so much salt in the game between them and ex-relationships and stuff like that. And a lot of times situations need closure.
Yes.
Situations need closure and humility, mm-hmm. and a humbling, mm-hmm. to be able to put that out there like that, you know? Mm-hmm. And what made it even more powerful for him to do that is that he wasn't, you know, just saying it just to be saying it. I know, but you guys probably didn't know, is that he was sitting right next to his wife, but she's camera shy. She don't want to be on camera. Mm-hmm. So he was sitting right there. They're sitting right there together, and really promoting that healing as a unit. And so oftentimes, we'll move on in relationships, or I've seen relationships move on, and they're just kind of like, fuck the person in the past. You don't need to fuck with them. You don't owe them nothing. But for him to do that and have that support and him doing that, and just me knowing that, I think of a little bit, if I had a little bit more focus, I would have actually said it, was huge. It's huge. And I think that is something that the younger generation, or my bracket, or even younger than that, can learn from. Can learn from, because so many times we're at odds, and we encourage each other to be at odds. And he wasn't really encouraging that. So I appreciated those things.
I did as well. I really appreciated, like you said, his humility. He seemed like a very earnest man who just wants his daughter back. Now, he was throwing some shots. Now, we'll ask you this. These shots, these slick ones. Did you, when he was saying, Eligio likes these boys more than he likes the women, we have not confirmed that. We have been, the people who have been.
That is valid tea.
That's valid tea? Okay. I was just, because I had heard these stories.
I have already confirmed the receipts, and yes.
Okay.
We're not gonna get all the way up in it, but when we be getting up in it, he coded it well, because he pointed out you got to peep some game. He said everybody in the camp ain't loyal.
That's true.
So we got intel. So we know. We got eyes. So
a little bit more, a little bit more of this tea. He was saying, like, and you just pointed it out. He got a little bit of intel over here. You got some covert ops going over there. I really admire you guys' really tenacity, and that brings up another another point I wanted to ask you about young Pharaoh. I know that you guys really are working. And you were saying this on another live the other day. How people just think this is just a show. This is just for TV. No, these people are actually working to bring these people home. Go ahead.
It's so crazy, because I think just because I do T-chats, people can get it a little confused and think that, but that's just my personality. I'm already a really goofy person anyway. And then sometimes some situations it's so heavy that you gotta bring a little bit of lightheartedness to it, right? And you have to approach it in a certain way where even though people get the laugh and we do have a good time, they still get the jewels, because if you notice in my T-chats, I still kick the knowledge.
Oh yeah,
I
absolutely.
never not kick the knowledge. So it's just like, it's just my way and my style of how I do it. People will think that it's just entertaining, but honestly, I found, and it's been working, that it's a wonderful way to spread awareness and keep people on top of what's going on at the same time. So when we're doing stuff behind the scenes, and that's another thing, people think because they don't see people doing nothing, like, people want us to, half of the people are like, don't tell anybody your plan. The other half of the people are like, well, they're stupid because they're not doing anything. And it's just like, we can't win because it's like, it's two different things, and people think because they don't see what's going on, nothing is being done. Authorities have already been contacted. There's case numbers, case files, all of that.
I'm sure, and I think there's FBI, and I want to say this too. Be careful, JassyG, because I think there's FBI like lingering around YouTube lately. I've had some crazy call-ins from my live shows, like really crazy stuff. Like either he's got these people calling over here and kind of trying to play the saboteur, or maybe one of his followers, or maybe, like I said, I don't know, but I just know that like I said in the live one day, I'd rather not cover the story anymore, and I haven't been. They did some really interesting lives today. He was speaking about the R. Kelly situation. I was thinking to myself the whole time, I really want to cover this right now, but I'm not necessarily afraid, but I haven't been involved in it as long as you guys have. And you guys do a really great job, so I've just respectfully bowed out. There's way more stuff I can cover. I can cover you, the beautiful, lovely Miss JassyG. I don't need to cover.
At one point, I wanted to stop covering Natureboy.
And that was one of the questions they were asking. What were you gonna do when the carbonation mess is finally over? They want to know what's next for you. And do you have a clear intent on what the channel is going to be in the future? And I want you to go where you were going first, and then answer that if you don't mind. When you were saying you didn't want.
So at one point, I was going to stop covering Nature Boy. And it was during the time when there was like so much drama between all of the people that were covering Nature Boy. And I was just like, I didn't come here for drama. That's not what I came here to do. And I really don't want to be a part of it. So I had to start really reevaluating. But what would be next? I am still really interested in cults, and I'm still really interested in narcissism and stuff like that. And there's more out of it to be shown outside of Nature Boy. I can point out narcissism in plenty of celebrities, plenty of situations that I see, plenty of news stories that I see.
Yes.
Plenty of reality shows that I see. Like, that's a narcissistic ass moment. And this is why, and this is how, and still continuously give those breakdowns to where people can kind of see these situations that they see every day in shows that they watch every day and don't pick it up and understand that that's narcissism.
Yes.
You know, especially in a lot of these shows that we see, this like, you know, Love and Hip Hop, some of these couples that divorce and whatever, Offset coming on the stage interrupting Cardi B's show was kind of shady and possibly abusive because he was using public pressure to kind of manipulate, make her or force her to be back into this relationship because the public was guilting her. And I'm on Facebook like, leave Cardi alone. Like, leave Cardi alone. She should be able to walk away from the relationship she doesn't want to be in anymore. She should be able to go. And so some people are like, oh, that's so cute, that Offset. No, it wasn't cute. What's not cute about that? Right? Nothing cute about that. And then I had to break it down and explain to people why. And then after that, they were like, oh, okay. Like, sense. I didn't think of it like that. Like, this just, and because it's a lot of subtle toxicity that we are exposed to on the daily and that is harming us. And we're programmed to think that it's okay. And it's not okay.
Well, let me ask you this. Speaking of toxicity that we think is okay, that's not okay. Eliana, she's over here. You know, her dad was throwing these shots yesterday. He was saying how she's left before. I didn't know this. She's left before. Another AC Blue in the chat was wanting to know. So the dad was saying that she has actually left before. And she's actually also wanting to know, what do you think it would take for Velvet to leave voluntarily? Just to leave, because now I've just found out. I didn't know that she has actually left before. And also in the chat, they're saying that you would make a good Narc Hunter series. I'm sure many of us would watch. I would definitely be one of those.
Yes, I am the Narc Hunter. Yeah, I got something cooking, and it'll come to me of exactly how I'm going to do it. You know, an inspiration. I'm gonna hone in on it. You know, and then I got to get some other things that I need. To make it come into fruition the way that I desire it to, because I kind of got a flair for like perfectionism, so I like to roll out stuff in a certain way. But Eliana did leave before. It was in regards to the polygamy thing, and she actually called family and told them what happened. And then, so when they were then they called her and was like trying to connect with her throughout the night. She just wasn't answering. And then they found out the next day that she went back. Wow. So, yeah, it was like they were close, but no, didn't. She got pulled back in. And it was also the fact of, it wasn't just the polygamy with the women, it's the polygamy with the men.
I was wondering about that because I've heard all kind of rumors. You know, you go on these channels and you hear stuff.
She's not okay with it. She's not. Yeah. She's not okay with the homosexuality activities with him.
What woman would be? Okay, it's one thing you got to share your man with, 3 other women, but now you got to share him with 10 other men. You know what I mean? Like, come on, like, where does it end? Where really does it end? And I know, I get it, Nature Boy, you're in there. Oh well, everything in nature is homosexual or bisexual. If that's what you believe, that's fine. I have no qualms against anybody's belief system or the way they choose to carry them out.
that's his form of projection though. Like it's like he projects who he is and himself onto everything. It's like typical narcissism. So it's like, no, everything can't possibly be bisexual or homosexual because I'm not.
That's not true.
I can tell you firsthand that I'm an organism that is not a part of that.
I'm a living being.
So yeah, no. So, but due to the projection, it's like the only person, even his whole entire rhetoric. Yeah, I understand the God consciousness, like I do, but the only person in existence being you is narcissistic, and knowing that narcs view everybody around them as extensions of themselves, from their mate to their friend to their family to their children. They're all extensions of themselves. And he'll say that I am an extension of myself. This dude has literally marketed and labeled his narcissism as carbonation and sold it to the masses. And that's another reason why carbonation is so dangerous, and people don't understand that what he's pushing is actually narcissism. I love myself, right? I love myself.
Yes.
Why is it just yourself? Like what? And then they know when they're saying it, I love myself, that they're referring to him because they are a reflection of him.
I always wondered about that. It didn't seem it doesn't seem malicious. It doesn't seem it seems very what's the word I'm focusing, nondescript. It's something that you can say. It could be a norm. It could be a greeting that could one day eventually be generalized. It could I like the greeting. I love myself. But it's just like you said, the way he uses it. He throws everything about. You're just a reflection of me. So you're just me. I'm me.
And he says to them, "I'm your higher self." So when they're saying I love myself, it's their higher self, which is him. So everything is always paying ode and homage to him. Even if you pay attention to their taglines that they're posted, they do on Facebook, it's always the Honorable Master Chief Eligio the Christ, yada, 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 and a Watt Bamboo. And instead of it just being, here's the post of the knowledge, they always have to give some sort of praise and upliftment to this guy. They uplift him more than they uplift the damn self.
Yeah, exactly. If he's you and you're him, then why wouldn't you uplift yourself? Why wouldn't you say the Honorable Master Chief True, if that was the case? But let's get to this one now. Speaking of the narcissism, speaking of the danger, I guess posed there. You and Mr. Marquez were talking last night about suicide. We heard, Natureboy make some comments recently. I'd rather not even be here. What is this all about? And we know what happened with Jim Jones down in Africa. We know what happened with Heaven's Gate. We know what happened in Waco, Texas. We know what happens at these fundamentalist, what are they, Mormon cults, when they try to go in and they either kill themselves or are they going to shoot you up or burn down the building? And I got that man's. I was sitting here watching it with a friend. And he was saying, man, he's going to open a can of worms there because you know what happened because he even said himself, you know what happened when they went into Waco when Mr. Marquez was saying, we're going to go in there. Can we just ask, can we go in there? I think that is so dangerous because when you're dealing with such volatile people like that, one hint of, they're coming in after us, he could have them drink the Kool-Aid. And you'd think, no, these people are black. They wouldn't do that.
He has done, and that is definitely a cause for concern. That is definitely something under heavy consideration. Because he does so much fear mongering, they're afraid of the outside world. If no one has picked up on that, they're afraid of all things Babylon, all things that Babylon have been demonized to them. So then he's also, and these drills that he's doing, standing at attention and all of that stuff. And it's war, it's war, it's war. That's programming them. To think that there is some war that doesn't exist. They think that there is some cause that doesn't exist. And they also, it's like they're also being programmed to be prepared to die. Musa did multiple lives, now Nubian, has done multiple lives talking about the gloriousness of death.
I've seen that.
Yeah, glorious of how explaining to them what happens when you die, what happens in the afterlife, why is it important for him? He knows that him living in this kingdom of God. It's going to, afford him this. It's the same exact thing as with the terrorist bombers.
Mm-hmm.
If you sacrifice yourself in heaven, there's 40 virgins. And so that's what they're following. They're being programmed the same way.
Wow.
And it is extremely, and also, before I forget, Eligio would never kill himself. He would never kill himself.
Mm-hmm.
Not ever. He would convince them to kill themselves because he wouldn't want to have any witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
And he would also want to take pleasure in having that one last stock of control.
Wow.
But he's too cowardly to kill himself. We have proof and evidence of that from the interaction in Costa Rica with the deportation officials. Did I say that right? It came out right.
I think so. Deportation officials. Mexican ICE, I guess you would call it.
Yeah, the little Mexican ICE. And he was the main one. He hyped all of them young kids up. Hyped them up. We're standing up for our cause. We're doing this. We're doing that. We're ready to die. I'm ready to die for this. I'd rather die than to do this, that, and there. I'd rather They're so hyped up when he's like, okay, all I need you to do is just sign this paperwork and y'all can go on about your day. No, call the media. He just kept escalating it with the officials, really instigating this fight, and then still amping up his troops. That when they came in, Olmec hops over the seat and pops one of them. We got that story from Key. Because it goes all dark or whatever. But Key says where Key was sitting, Olmec was Key was actually sitting in front of Olmec. So for a punch to come over his shoulder, the punches came from EJ and Olmec.
Mm-hmm.
Based off of where they were sitting in the bus, I do believe. And then Rambo was right up there too. So I think Rambo threw some punches. Tron was right behind there. Tron threw some punches. Everybody was fighting for their life to the death except Eligio.
I saw that. He was on the ground talking about something, I love you to the police. And just like Sugar Honey Ice Tea said here, crying, I love you to the police officer that was whooping his ass on the ground.
Yes, and he was going to sit there and watch all of them die. All of them proved in that moment that under his leadership that they were willing to fight and that they were willing to die in that moment. They started the fight with the officials. They did. He escalated it. And then the person who started swinging first was actually Melanation Carbonation. They were the ones who started swinging first.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm so glad to have you on the show, because a lot of this, I caught the Natureboy story about, 4 or 5 months ago when I started my radio show, and I was looking for interesting topics to cover, and I found this, and I started covering it on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and where I started my internet radio show career. I wasn't even thinking about YouTube, and then once I really started catching wind of how big of a story this is on YouTube, I said, let me cover this. I'm covering everything. I'm covering R. Kelly and, Aaliyah and all this. Let me cover this. One video, in like a day, it got like 5,000 views, and I got all these subs. And I just want to say to the people who sub, because I was covering Natureboy at the time, I really appreciate you guys. I really do. But that is not the entirety of what I do. And I'm going to stop it because it's dangerous, man. And I really, my hat is off to JassyG right now, man, because like I said, there's FBI involved in this. There is lives and people's, man, it is such an interesting topic. I love to talk about it with you guys. But as far as covering their lives from now on, I'm just going to be watching JassyG, and you need to be over there too.
Yeah, no, I'm stockpiling the footage. I was like, you get a lot of hate, and you get a lot of, whatever. But I always say it's like, should something happen, and we don't know how this ends up, right? We don't know what could happen or where it could go. And it's like, if we weren't covering it and we weren't keeping the footage, then he could essentially hide a lot of evidence, a shit ton of evidence.
Oh my God, I wanted to. There's some some AC Blue said here, the Bachelor live last night, and then the R. Kelly lives today. He could easily delete those because that's some incriminating shit he was saying on the R. Kelly lives today. Have you seen those? Yeah, I can't wait to hear your commentary on those a little later. I'm sure you'll be doing those later.
His usual sickness.
Oh my goodness!
And then the way that they were treating the women who were calling in, and then I was just disturbed by the women even calling in. I was like, okay, and so
yeah. All right, so
I don't know what to do about that.
So let me ask you a couple more questions, Jazzy, and I'm gonna get you out of man. This has been a great interview, man. We're an hour strong, and we still got 33 plus people watching us.
Hey to everybody in the room,
Jazzy G. All right, a couple more questions here, and then we're gonna let you get out of here. I'm gonna open up for more question and answer if they want that as well. If you want that, let's see. My last couple questions. Let me see. First one. What do you want people to take away from this interview, and what do you want them to know about you?
Well, I liked something that you had just said, where people have to understand that even if we cover Natureboy, I know you're going to stop covering him, that we are still diverse, and our channels should be allowed to have some diversity, because sometimes we got to take a break from his ass.
I know, right?
Sometimes you just gotta take a break and talk about some other stuff, So to me, it's not just about the Natureboy. Yes, the way that I hit the Natureboy is in my own unique way, and it is in a way that is going to not just talk about what's going on over there in Toxic Nation. It's also going to talk. I always include a build. I always try to get to the build and the lesson behind the content that we saw, and how it relates to your life, because sometimes we think the stuff that we see doesn't relate to us. And yes, it may not be as severe as what's going on over there. It may not be on such a larger scale like that, but some of their issues do tie back into issues that we face and things that we see every single day. So I always try to link it into that, and to get to where you just don't leave with the laugh, for my channel, but you also leave with really good knowledge, and motivation and just support and encouragement and upliftment. Because I always feel like because we go into Natureboy, it's negative. I have to offset it with the positive. I have to.
That is an awesome way to look at life. That is an awesome way to look at your channel. I didn't think about it that way because, like I said, I think you just said something that was very important. And, and another reason I wanted to even stop covering it is because, like you said, you just get tired of hearing that drivel and listening to these 3-4 hour long bullshit lives. He's just saying the same thing over and over again. These women, these brainwashed ass, helpless women, not helpless, but seemingly ditzy, dim-witted women, these guys looking like they've been smoking crack or, hitting meth pipes or something. Like they just always looks like they own something, it just it really is depressing. I mean, some days it can be beautiful.
It's so much, that's the thing. And that's another thing. Like the public, they don't even understand that. It's like, we watch the entire live. You don't have to. Like, you don't even understand. Yeah. So we go through all of them to get to the meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
And it's just like, sheesh. Like, it just goes on and on and on. And even then, like, I've literally been in lives. And so this is why it needs a team, where people think it's one channel can't do it all. It needs a team, because I have literally been in lives where I have like either zoned out or skipped over ahead, or like as I'm skimming, because I skim first before I decide to watch it. Or I skim it and I say I'm gonna come back to that one. And so and I have literally I will stream like just half of it, right? And then I'll go on another channel that I'm sub to, and they were and they got the other half, and the other half was some Fooly Wang too.
Yes.
That I didn't see in the skimming process.
Yes.
So it's like it definitely needs a crew. Like it needs a crew. That's why I'm not mad when other people sub Natureboy covers, because I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah.
Let them go, and I peep and I see what footage they got to not duplicate their footage. Like I do that.
I'm the same way. If I see you or Pretty Face or who else is that? Crystal Healings. If I see you guys and they've got a certain thing, I'm not gonna go. That's just not that I feel like that's stealing. I mean that you'd still be covering on the story. I just feel, well, there's enough material. He's gonna come out with some more bullshit tomorrow, and maybe I can be first to that one. It's just like he's a treasure trove for bullshit.
Yeah. So. Oh yeah, you don't run out of it. Even in going into the other ones, because I still go into the other ones in the entire camp.
Yeah, me. Yeah.
To get into some of the things that they say, like I usually just check in on them and just kind of get a bead on what's going on, because just telling from his life, like sometimes if you go into the other ones, you really get a feel of the undercurrent, because usually whatever they decide to talk about in their lives is super shady. Like they're throwing shade or hinting about a situation that just popped off in the kingdom of God. And so it's like, I'd be like,
just like when you got off last night, did you know when you and Mr. Marquez got off last night, Eliana did her first live in a while. It's up there. I looked at it.
I saw it. I saw it. She was calm, you know.
Yeah, she was calm, but she was throwing some little.
But she was throwing some shade. She blocked me.
Oh, really?
Yes, I am blocked by Eliana the Christ.
I will send you that live so you can come. I seen
it. No, I seen it because I got other IGs.
Okay,
but I was like, I seen the live in the morning, like I saw it, and then it was gone.
Yeah,
and I was like, dang, I was gonna go back and get to it, and so it just kept loading and never fully loaded. So I went to his and it just instantly popped up. Went to a couple of other pages, instantly popped up. Went back to hers, gone. So I was like, big block.
Yeah, okay. She saw it. She saw it. But you know what? I think that what you do is beneficial and it's helpful, and it will work. I think that eventually it will work. Now I'm gonna get. I keep saying I'm gonna let you go, but then I got one more question to ask you. The new crew. I call them the new crew. What are they? The New Nation.
New Nation.
Give me your quick thoughts about them, and then I'm gonna let you go for real. Quick thoughts about the New Nation. They've kind of quieted down over the last several days. I hadn't heard much from any of them.
Well, I'm glad the New Nation, done got their freedom papers. They done found the Underground Railroad out of Toxic Nation.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of them about that. Freedom. Go ahead, let freedom ring. But their mind still isn't free. They're physically free, but their mind still isn't where it needs to be. And so, though I admire them walking away, I think Key has some really wonderful ideas. I really liked Key and Vibes or whatever at one point. I'm still, I respect Rambo and Serenity, but I'm never going to come around to really liking them. Just because they're, I think they have too much egotism with them.
Yeah.
And just the audacity to say that due to your knowledge, you should never have to work. But you're going to, and then say, because you are so much better and grander than a 40-hour work week, but ask people who are working a 40-hour work week for money.
Yeah.
So I'm not rocking with them because of that.
Yeah.
No. You got to come all the way up out of it. And because they just don't want to give the 100% real about what took place over there and various situations and various things, not just about Natureboy, but I would want to ask them about the history, of what happened with this person and that person and what happened there. And when we saw this situation, what was really going on, I would want to get to the nitty gritty with them.
I honestly think if we could get a hold of Rambo and Serenity, that they would talk. I think they would talk. I watch Rambo. He hasn't been live. Now, Flo and Vibes have been live, here and there. They're really trying to push this garden thing, trying to get over the line like they're going over to, Hawaii. They're not going any fucking where. They're still in Mexico. They're probably going to go back to Natureboy at this long and short of it, in my opinion. But, I really think before, if they're really sincere and they're really trying to leave and go anywhere else, whether it be America, Hawaii. I heard them talking about Greenland the other day. Wherever you decide to go. I would want Rambo and Serenity to talk because I feel like they could tell it all. You know what I mean?
They got it all.
I know. Serenity's been there. Serenity's been there how long?
Yeah, Serenity, and Key are like really the OGs, and then after that, Rambo.
See, that's why I follow
So,
Serenity as much as that's why when I had fallen back off of my Nature Boy coverage as much and had really started following the New Nation and Rambo and Serenity because I've been waiting to hear, more, a
yeah,
little
I
bit
know,
more.
and that's the thing. Like, I don't want people to stop covering New Nation. So I'm like, because I never show so many lives, so little time. It's it's like I can't ever. I be depending. I'm like, can y'all cover them because I want to see it later on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
somebody like, what's going on? Because it's like, I think they're ticking time bombs. And any moment now, it's going to be something that is going to happen where they're going to need to spill the beans. And I can't wait until that occurs.
TG says they're going to make a movie about carbonation. I can't wait. And like I said, I'm really gonna let you go this time. I really appreciate you being here, Miss JassyG Luvely, man. I have your link in the description. If you're a subscriber of my channel, and you're not a subscriber of JassyGs, get your butt in those descriptions. Go over there and sign up to JassyG right now. You're really gonna love all of her commentary. As you can see, she's a truth speaker. She is a truth to the wind type person. And like I said, you are really gonna love her. Now, man, much success to you and everything that you do,
of my
Jazzy.
people who came up in here need to sub to your channel.
That is great. If they do that, that'd be great.
Yeah. So we gotta doing interviews with different people and exposing, us to all of these different people in YouTube and stuff like that. I think is wonderful. I think that's a great idea.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So how do you
backboard on these channels?
how do you deal with the haters, Jay-Z? Let us come out of here with some positivity. How do you deal with the haters? How do you let everybody see your light every day? So so they don't have to see the darkness when you walk by. You know what I mean? Because we dark people, we melanated people, we got this darkness, but our darkness shines for some reason. Our darkness shines, right? I'm looking at you right now. You got some glimmer, some glimmer on that darkness. Look at some little bit of that light is a reflect. You talk about a reflection.
It's so okay. This YouTube journey with the trolls. Sometimes in the words of Natureboy, I get in my bag.
Okay.
Get in my bag. They were debating about that not being gay slang.
I don't know if it is.
Yeah. I get in my bag. I get in my feelings. And I get irritated. I do. I'm just like, yo, like, this is supposed to be positive. And you're just being so negative. Like they do. And it's like, they're not even normal trolls. They're like, YouTube trolls are a troll force of their own. They're not like Facebook trolls. They're not like Instagram trolls. It's just their own particular brand of trolls.
Yeah.
And they say really just off the wall, nasty things. And so sometimes I may succumb to getting a little irritated and lower self with them because I'll clap back. And now I'm like, as I'm getting further and further, I'm like, I'm never going to be able, this is just going to be a continuous problem. It's just going to be continuous. So now I really had to go back into myself and my sense of spirituality and my inner peace and understand why they're doing what they do. And knowing that it comes with the territory, right? And I am just the fact that I always have, I'm fortunate to have really supportive people, like even the people who I interact with frequently through my channel, just they don't even understand how much they lift my spirits and pick me up so that I can live to fight another day. So because it's so draining that people just legitimately say hateful things to you and it's unwarranted. Like, it's like, you don't even know me. I don't even know you. Like,
you're just trying to do your best.
I'm just trying to make it do what it do.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be people who are going to speak negative of you. Everybody's not going to like you. Everybody's not going to do you. You just have to make sure that you do you and you stay focused on your focus. And they're gonna stay focused on you because they ain't got no focus. So it is what it is. Put it in perspective. And now, you know, when I see them, I'm like, okay, this must have been a bomb ass live. If I'm getting trolled,
they ain't like this.
Was off the damn chain then because the trolls is out. Trolls don't come to the ones that ain't that great, but they go ham and cheese on the ones that's gold.
Yeah.
So
I really think you could be the next Tasha K. Luvely T, and not in that same lane, but as far as as far as popularity, I really think you've got a really bright, great future ahead of you. I'm honored to have you on my channel on this interview. I'm gonna be able to look back one day and say I had her on.
I know. Wouldn't that be so amazing? Like I'm on a 1-year push. Like I really truly desire to be one of those people that can be like, oh, I did it like 30K in 1 year. Like,
yes,
that would be really awesome. Like that would be so cool to be able to say that. And so I just let it manifest, and I know just remaining positive. And same thing for you. Like you have such a light, and you do have such a presence. I didn't even get to see, like, I'm not even looking at you. And, but you have just such a great voice. You have a great laugh too. And it is rather captivating. So you just keep going. You just find the time to be consistent. Keep your mind and your eye on the prize of what you desire and what you want. You're literally halfway there. And from there, once you just keep moving, keep moving. You're gonna be seen. You're gonna be heard, and like we're gonna be sitting here at the end of 2019. I'm gonna be like, remember when we started?
I remember. We're gonna be looking at. We're gonna watch this live again in 2029.
Yep, we're gonna watch it again and be like, remember that time. Remember this one time in band camp?
One time in band camp, we met over a Natureboy song.
We did that over Natureboy. We did.
It's been so great to have you. I don't know why that was happening. It's been so great to have you, Jazzy, man. I really cannot say it enough. Thank you so much. You have anything to say to the people before we get on out of here?
It's love and come to.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. JassyG, thank you again. We're out of here. The Live List.
We out.